Hi everyone. I just want to let you guys know that I will be doing other verses besides the homosexual clopper verses, and if anyone has any verses they're confused of or a topic, let me know and I will make videos about them. And also someone else noticed that I seem to be reading from something. You're correct. I have notes in front of me so I don't tend to get on my soapbox and babble, or I will do that. We're now moving out of Genesis into the third book of the Bible and of the Torah, Leviticus. The word Leviticus, the title of that means of or relating to the Levites. The Levites were basically the priests of the Israeli tribe. They were in charge of all things like religious duties and political responsibilities. So that was the role they played. So this is their book. If we read Leviticus 18:22, the King James Version will translate that as, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination." The NIV will say, "Do not lie with a man as one lies with a woman. That is detestable." These verses are a part of the Mosaic Holiness Code. However, good Jews only practice about 300 of the 613 commandments they believe that were given to Moses. The word translated as either abomination or detestable is the word toaba. This is used to refer to the breaking of a moral or ritual law. And by ritual law, I mean that it involves foreign cult practices. So anything that was outside of how Israel would have worshipped was a toaba, simply because it was a foreign cult practice. Okay. Today, Jews do not obligate others outside the Jewish religious tradition to observe the Torah laws. This is because they believe the Jewish laws were given to them only. In other words, the Leviticus laws in the Holiness Code were to the Levites only. This is what you could say was the beginning of Judaism. This was trying to create a religion that looks separate from all the other religions around them. So if we put this verse in flow with Leviticus 18, the verse beforehand has moved into ritual sacrifices of children to Molech. This topic has changed to ritual activities that will be forbidden in worship settings for the Israeli tribe. This would mean that Leviticus 18:22 is a sexual activity forbidden because of idolatrous pagan temple activity. It's a toaba. This does not mean that this is something that makes God vengeful against his people, but simply that someone else is doing this to worship a God that is not the God of Abraham. If we go to Leviticus 20:13, it's almost the same. King James Version will translate it as, "If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them." The NIV says, "If a man lies with a man, as one lies with a woman, both of them have done what is detestable. They must be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads." In addition to the death in this verse, it is because it is a ritual transgression that is being broken. The same fate was offered to those who gathered sticks on the Sabbath, which is in Numbers 15, or of improper eating of a ritual offering, which is Numbers 18, and of ineligible people acting as priests, Numbers 3. People like nowadays would not actually be put to death for any of these things. In context, though, this verse, 2013, is talking about ritual prostitution that was happening in surrounding tribal cities, much like the verse beforehand. And by beforehand, I mean the other 18:22. Also, some scholars believe this would be culturally unacceptable because men having sex with men would make one of them a woman. Men being of high stature and women being basically of slave stature, gay sex would insult one man and take away his rightful position as being a man, making him a woman. Another scholar has read this as saying where men can and cannot have sex, that it should not be in the bed of a woman, basically. So they can have gay sex, just not in a woman's bed, if that makes sense. So, in wrapping it up, the main points needed to be remembered were: the Holiness Code was written for the Levites, or priests of the day, to start a religion that was outwardly separate from the religions practiced outside the tribes of Israel. Toaba was referred to as a ritual law or moral law, but in context with the surrounding verses, it is not a moral law or sin, but a ritual law. In other verses, what is looked down upon is not homosexuality, but temple prostitution. So, Leviticus 18:22 and 2013 do not talk about homosexuality. It's temple prostitution.